right, here we go, Julie. All right, welcome back to The Link on this Good Friday, and it is a very good morning to bring a good friend into the program, someone who we have not had on The Link, and someone who I personally have admired her work from the Micronesia Conservation Coalition, my dear friend Julie Hartup, who is... Julie, I want to make sure we get this politically correct. Do you prefer Manta Mama or Mama Manta? Because you advocate on behalf of these majestic, elegant creatures.
Well, they've kind of nicknamed me Manta Mom, like M-U-M, like English, because I belong to like a global Mana Trust, a group of scientists that study mantas all over the world. So they've kind of nicknamed me in England, it's Manta Mom. So that's kind of what they've nicknamed me.
Which is really interesting.
To everyone here, I'm Julie.
Yeah, and I mean, I know, growing up on Guam and, being someone who, like I love the ocean and, my father was involved for many, many years in tourism and the hospitality industry. And you always saw, we've got, there's jewelry, there's T-shirts, there's, there are little stuffed animals and everything like that. We celebrate the shark, the turtle and everything. But manta rays were not one of the common creatures that we would have this reverence for and everything like that. But they do have a very strong presence on our island.
They do actually. And, when I first started studying, I was actually going to do my master's kind of on the yak mantas. And then my professor was like, you should really do them on the Guam mantas. So when I started, it was like, no, all we knew is like, we sometimes see them at Gum Beach, and that was it, and I spent a lot of time in the water and trying to figure out, well, how am I going to find out? This is going to be the longest master's ever, because I can't, I'm not seeing them. So where are they? So I really these are big animals, and I thought, well, I know that they eat the smallest things in the ocean, so they're planktivores. And so I know that they always have to eat, and they have to eat like 12% of their body weight. So I really concentrated on how I'm going to find it is really based on where their food is. And so that's kind of how I took my angle to actually learning and studying about our Guam mantas.
And when it comes,
we do have a very small population, so we do have them, but in terms of like relationships to other areas, a small population is considered like 300, and we have 58 individuals.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, it's small.
And now when it comes,
but they're ours.
And now when it comes to the ray families, we've got the manta rays, the stingrays, and the angel rays. Is our proportion of mantas? I mean, I've seen stingrays obviously, like on Guam. You see those every once in a while. I'm not sure if I've ever seen an angel ray.
I don't know about angel rays. I know that with the manta rays, they're related to like eagle rays. So eagle rays are the really pretty ones. They have like the pointed, pointed noses.
Those are the ones with the face.
Yeah, and but then we also, their manta rays are actually what we call mobulas. And we do have mobulas. So, it's really, mobulas are more oceanic. And they actually did all this like genetic study, and they made it to where mantas, mobulas are all together in one family. So that was just recent. I mean, all this really with manta rays and studying them is really groundbreaking, because we really haven't had many studies before. So like genetics, all those kind of things, how they relate to one another. So for us, it's like brand new information that we're gathering and learning more about. And really our Guam mantas are adding a lot to that in a big way. Something now, Julie didn't really encourage at first.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to point out was last year, obviously, it was so hard on all of us humans, our side of the animal kingdom and everything. But I saw so many people on social media, everyone was staying home and they were staying inside doing what we had to do to combat coronavirus last year. But there were a bunch of people from the Tumon to Mooning areas who were sharing these videos like right around Tumon Bay, and particularly like near Ipoh Beach, and they were like, hey, look I've got these videos of these manta rays and you can see them clearly. And one, I didn't know that at least on that side of the island, like that's where they would habitat. And then two, I was completely unaware that mantas could actually go in water that shallow. I always thought that, mantas were, kind of maybe deep
Yeah.
water creatures. So, I mean, education for me. Did
Yeah.
you see a lot of those videos on Facebook, on Instagram? And
Yeah, for sure we did. And we saw,
you probably
so
posted your share too.
I learned early on in my research not to use social media a lot in terms of like what I was doing, because they're so charismatic and people want to see them. Like, for instance, if I posted up a picture that I was going to Gum Beach to try and, see our mantas and see if I could collect some what we call IDs. And so each manta has like a unique spot pattern on their belly.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go out there and I'd have people who were following me on social media. All of a sudden I'd have like 15 people there. And so I couldn't actually do my work. And so I realized early on not to kind of post what I was doing in terms of research, because it was really impeding it. But in terms of like what happened in terms, and where everyone's in lockdown, yeah, it was pretty crazy. So we're all in lockdown. And then finally, when we kind of can get some exercise, all of a sudden we had tons of pressure on the sites, the manta ray sites, because now everyone was that's all we were doing. I mean, that's what I was doing. I was watching you guys 24/7. I just wake up and turn you guys on, and, everyone's all on social media. And so the site where we have these, which is actually the mantas, and they're coming in to feed off of fish spawning aggregations, which is a whole new different, which is so incredible anyway for our fisheries, really got shared. And now it's just out there, and it's being shared on chats. And so now we're getting huge amount of numbers. We're getting wave runners, we're getting boats. And it's gone from, maybe a nuisance to now this is really impeding on the environmentally, on the fish and the manta rays, but also as safety. This is a huge safety concern. And then of course you have the science part of it as well, because, if you had 35 people show up in your office, it'd be kind of hard to get your work done.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what we're finding right now.
Now, being a woman of science, of course, measurement is like one of your, the tenets of your work. And have you done any research so far? I mean, we're only into the 4th month of the year, but basically because last year was a wash and, so many people stayed in jet skis and boats and canoes and what have you, we stayed out of the water. Did, the population get it? You mentioned spawning, and has there been like a little bit of a repopulation?
Yeah. So what's happened, what was incredible is, you got to realize I've been doing this since, 2012. Was kind of my first target dates to go over the reef and look at these fish spawning aggregations. And that my whole hypothesis was that these mantas were going to come in and feed off of them. And so to do that, I had to figure out when these fish are spawning. And these are food fish for Guam. I mean, these are your Hidzuk, your Hamilton, your Kitsu. I mean, our MPA is doing what it's supposed to do. And it's beautiful to see, because there was a sacrifice for that locally, And so I have been, documenting it for this long, and we never had fish that were spawning as late as they did. They just kept on spawning. And so when kind of things eased up a little bit, and then we still had the spawning, some people last year were being able to swim with the mantas more, and they were in the aggregations and stuff like that. But that was incredible. So that was a whole new thing. Is like, okay, well, if we know that there's something that is allowing these fish to spawn longer, what is it? Is it not having jet skis in that area, or, is it the water temperature? Is it, what are the factors going into it? And
were the fish possibly playing like an underwater
question.
version of, Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On" or something like that, and the fish were just in the mood? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Some Billy White, playing it. So, and what's so incredible, and the more that our team are in the water and we're able to collect data, we get what actual time the fish are spawning, how many mantas are coming in. Are they male? Are they female? Are we getting babies? I mean, that's another thing. We found that Chumon is actually a nursery site. So we're finding this is very critical habitat, not only for our fisheries, but for like the population of manta rays.
Okay,
So,
well, Julie, let's go ahead and
so
wrap with
it's
this.
been really incredible.
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap with this because as we, as a society, continue to return to hopefully
Yeah.
like a normal way of life,
Yeah.
you know, there is that, you know, industry goes back, you know, people begin, you know, to frolic in the water again, and you will
Yes.
need more people to help you out, the Micronesian Conservation Coalition. So if people would like to get in touch with you, find out more about
Yes.
the research that you do, or even volunteer or contribute, how can they do so?
Yeah, we're just really pleading to just kind of don't come out in droves, you know, don't come out in big, huge groups. You know, if you're bringing little kids, please put life jackets on. I haven't even taken my own 14-year-old daughter, and I've been studying it for, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's so sensitive. And what we're seeing, I'm so concerned that it's going to take a death. And I think for those of us who have lived here long or are local, know that that can be a very dangerous site. And we've had deaths there, and so that's one of my big concerns. I just want to see people to do it safely and just be conscious that we just can't have these the kind of amounts that we're having all at once,
Right.
or it's going to really affect it.
Okay. Well, and then final statement, I guess, is, also, ladies and gentlemen, these creatures are very, very beautiful. They're very elegant. But, as Julie has educated all of us, these are still wild animals. And when you go in the ocean, you're in their turf. I mean, talk about castle doctrine and everything like that. They are going to defend, their home. So, please appreciate the animals, gaze at their beauty, but, try not to disturb them, and certainly don't make them mad.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Okay, Julie, I can't wait to interview you. Come in for KWM News Extra when the world goes back to normal again, because your work is certainly appreciated.
Thank you very much.
All right, happy Easter to you and your family. We wish you the best.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Okay, we continue right here on the link, and we got a couple things that we want to show you guys, including. What do you say, Chris? We got sports link. And we got One Micronesia.
So we're gonna actually go with the One Micronesia.